So we all know, oh, I gotta light the candle. We all know how dreadful that Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition was. Dreadful. We tried playing it on stream. Many of you guys were here for that. It literally crashed my PC, wouldn't load. It was so glitched that people who even bought the Anniversary Edition for $40 for the full upgrade, they couldn't even get their paid mods to redeem in the game because it was broken. Bethesda did eventually acknowledge it. So as you can see here on their Discord server, this is 2 days ago, they say that they dropped the ball. Jessica Page said at 11:30 a.m. that morning, "Thank you for your patience while we worked on the Fallout 4 creations menu. Access to the menu has resumed." Basically, my understanding is that at some point that morning that they launched it, the menu was breaking so much that they decided to just shut it down. So you couldn't even open the creations menu for the stuff you bought. They just shut it down, and then they reactivated it later once things had settled down a little bit. They say, "We are actively investigating an issue affecting the delivery of Creation Club content after purchasing the Creations Bundle or Anniversary Edition. Currently, there may be a delay between completing your purchase and seeing the content marked as owned in your account. We expect to resolve this as soon as possible. Please keep an eye here and on our Bethesda support article for ongoing updates." Fam, like literally you had one job. This is like literally the one thing in this update was the paid mods, and they didn't work. They also, when they announced this update through the Xbox marketing, they pitched it and pushed it as like something everybody was super excited for, but it just ended up being a total disaster. For example, the same individual, Jessica Page, updated yesterday saying, "We discovered the cause for an issue some players were experiencing where content they bought recently was no longer being recognized as owned. So initially you would buy it and the game would take a while to update and show you as owning it. But then it was updated and they revealed another bug, which was that it would show it as owned, but then later no longer recognize it. So whatever. PlayStation has also apparently been giving out refunds for the Creations Bundle without really any resistance reportedly. And that is because there's also a good number of items in the paid mods package that are just not supported or given on PlayStation. It's kind of ridiculous. Now, somebody I've followed for ages who makes really good content and has historically been focused on Bethesda stuff has been Mr. Matty Plays. And Matty has historically been more maybe optimistic. I was going to say forgiving, but I think forgiving is probably not the right word. More optimistic. Like, I think he often looks at the glass as half full when I look at it as being half full of piss, you know? And I think that can be very useful to be able to look at things and be like optimistic about it. But with this update, like, it's getting to the point where even some of the most hardcore Bethesda fans have just had enough. I'll just play the first like 30 seconds of his video discussing this. Okay. The title, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, is legit insulting.
No intro. Let's do this. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Bethesda was really quiet about it, and now we know why. The pricing is egregious. This thing still has a lot of issues. The new content's not really good. You can see a big difference between the new creations and the old creations. Part of the problem with this new batch is also that like all the old creations Bethesda's having you pay for aren't nearly as good as like something we got with Skyrim Anniversary Edition. And so I sat down and spent my day playing this, and I got a lot of nostalgia for Fallout 4. It's not a perfect game by any means, although there was a time I may have claimed that, but it's not. But it's definitely a game I have a lot of great memories with, and I do like firing it up. Anytime I get an excuse to fire it up, like last year with the next gen update, you know, obviously Bethesda screwing up the entire game aside, it was just still like one of those things where the emotion takes over a little bit. It's nice to go back. This is like the first time in my life where I fired up Fallout 4 and just got pissed off, dude. Like, I just am so tired of watching what I view as my favorite franchise in anything, all of entertainment, just being treated like shit. It's saddening. So let's break it down, because obviously I don't think you should go out and do what I did today, but it was one of those moments where a lot of content creators have this type of moment where you just realize like the time you spend on these things.
And he's about to say something, I think, that is very profound, okay? And it's probably something that a lot of you guys, if you're in this chat, can identify with. because I think it's happened to most of us who are here right now listening to this. Okay, listen to this.
You're like, oh, like I could have been playing something else. There's a ton of games I have on the burner right now. I'm playing like Digimon Trails in the Sky. I'm just playing so many different games, and like I could have just been doing that. But I'm playing this, and it wasn't good. It's just one of those like radicalizing moments where you're like,
I think that is so, it's the perfect word for it. It's radicalizing. It's radicalizing. It's a moment where you just go, you know what? No. You know, where you just at some point are like, screw this. What are we doing? What are we doing? And I think everybody needs to have this moment with companies that are taking advantage of them, because they will continue to take advantage of you until it's very, very clear they can't. The thing that's happened with Ubisoft in the last year or so, I mean, it's also last several years. You can look at the chart of their stock price, but for them, like, it was very clear they could not do the same thing they've always done. They couldn't rush it out. What Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, said was, we used to release games with small moments of friction, is how he phrased it. And I remember friction, small frictions, because it was such a weird way of saying it. And basically what he was saying was like bugs and glitches and lack of optimization and things like that. He's like, games like Star Wars Outlaws launch with small frictions, and it's clear that we just can't do that in the modern marketplace. And it's like, okay, so what you're saying is you used to be able to get away with unoptimized games. You used to be able to get away with missing gameplay content, with taking this piece of content out and selling it back by doing pre-order bonuses or whatever, deluxe editions, whatever. And now you can't. Now you can't, because the audience kind of woke up, stood together, stopped spending money on it, and said enough's enough, and like made it clear that they were not okay with it. And that's what Bethesda is in desperate need of, is they are in desperate need of the community that plays their games to come together and be like, no. And it sounds so simple, but even now you will see people on their subreddit who are still coping, who are still coming up with excuses about it, whether it's people that are, you know, posting glazing comments about what they've got in the additional content. There are some people that are calling it out. The Wanderer by Dion, removed from Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. I'm seeing multiple people saying that The Wanderer by Dion has been removed in the anniversary update for Fallout 4. Has anyone else heard this rumor, or have you heard the song in the newest update? Can anyone confirm or deny? I'm sure they've done a lot of stuff. They've tweaked a lot of stuff, removed a lot of stuff. But in general, like, people are still broadly optimistic about it. And there's actually, I was told, haven't verified it myself because I've not tried, but I've been told that there are posts that are being removed by moderators if they are seen as being excessively negative, which is crazy, because sometimes the company deserves excessive negativity, frankly, I think. But this is no surprise. Maddie played the game, tried it himself, and found what many other people thought, and it was that it was egregiously priced, and it's broken, and it conveniently breaks all of the free mods at the exact moment when they're pushing paid mods. Just a dumpster fire. But it turns out, even since I tried the game, and since Maddie tried the game a couple days ago, there's more stuff that we were not aware of that makes it even worse somehow. And so Maddie revisited it and found some other interesting little tidbits, and so I figured I'd share those with you. And as you can see, the top comment on this follow-up video he did, as someone who has watched Maddie for years, seeing him finally rip into Bethesda for their laziness is so satisfying. And I think it's just people joke and are like, oh, Maddie's a shill or whatever. I've never thought that. I think he's an optimist. And it's the same thing, like Jor Raptor, who we of course do the podcast with, and he's a good friend. Jor, I think, is an optimist when it comes to like Horizon, and when it comes in some cases to some Ubisoft stuff. He's like hardcore cutthroat with it, but like he's an optimist with those franchises because he loves those franchises. And I think it's okay to be an optimist. You know, I think it's okay to like try to look at the glass as half full when you love something. That's okay. I think that's fine. But at some point, even the most optimistic person can be broken. And what you're seeing now with Bethesda's treatment of Fallout is that even the most optimistic, the most upbeat members of their own community are like, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? And that's what this is. So let's hear what it is.
Let's do this. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is abysmal. I hope you have not touched this piece of garbage. Just going to put it out there right away.
Bear in mind, Todd has said that he watches Maddie's channel. Granted, that was a number of years ago, but they've done interviews together. Remember, they did that big interview right around posts. I think it was right after Starfield, I want to say. But they did the interview. Like, he engages with Todd. Todd has seen his stuff. Todd's aware of Maddie. I'm sure Todd at some point, I'm sure, has heard and seen some of my antics with him. Todd in the room with us right now. Praise be, everyone. Praise be in chat. Praise be. Praise be. The point is, like, I rail against Bethesda a lot because I'm what I would probably consider to be a former fan. They've not done a lot recently that would make me be a fan of him. But, you know, who knows if Todd's ever seen any of my stuff railing against them. But we do know that he watches Maddie and has seen Maddie's stuff and is engaged with Maddie even on a one-to-one level. So this is profound for Maddie to just straight up say,
hi, let's do this. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is abysmal. I hope you have not touched this piece of garbage. Just going to put it out there right away.
It's pretty clear cut. It's pretty clear cut. Like I said in my attempt to try the game, and I say attempt because it was so broken I couldn't. At this point, like, Bethesda straight up should be ashamed of themselves. They are the stewards of one of the most profound and successful and biggest IP in all of gaming, really all of entertainment as well. And they have consistently botched it for going on a decade. Like, seriously, Fallout 4 is a decade old. And I thought Fallout 4, while it wasn't the game a lot of people wanted, it still was a solid game if you play it like an adventure looter shooter. You can have a lot of fun with it. But then from Fallout 76 onward, it has just been nonstop fumble. Like, I get it. Some people like Starfield. I get it. But I think even if you like Starfield, you have to acknowledge that the reception of the game was not anywhere close to what Bethesda wanted. They can cope and seethe, and they can claim that they're actually really happy with it, and it's one of their 3 pillars, like Fallout and Skyrim and all that. They can say all of that. But without a doubt, the reception has not been on that level. Player counts are not there. Engagement's not there. Modding support is not there. It's just not. They can lie about it. They can say that it's been a tremendous success, but demonstrably it's not. And it's so frustrating to see that they still seemingly just have no fire under their butt. They're just like, oh no, it's whatever. It's fine. It's just mismanagement at its core.
Bethesda needs to feel the heat on this one, because it's one thing to break your game after 9 years last year. It's another thing to...
I'm sorry. It's so funny that we're so used to Bethesda being incompetent that we're like, yeah, it's okay. This is really bad. And I'm saying it's really bad because it's one thing to break your game after a decade and then spend a year and a half not fixing it, which already is such an insane thing. Like, if they abandoned the game and weren't touching it at all, and then it just broke because of a Windows update or something, which happens to a lot of old games, that is one thing. But they are actively updating Fallout 4 consistently to sell you more stuff within Fallout 4. Like, they are actively working on it, and they chose not to fix it for a year and a half. Like, it is insane. Just that is insane.
Wait 18 months to do something about it. It's a completely separate subject to make that return after 18 months and make the problem worse. So rightfully, the community is taking Bethesda and now in turn Xbox to task. But the main reason I wanted to follow up here on this subject was simply because there were things that I was not aware of when I made my already scathing review on the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Everything from the pricing of some new creations added in as part of Creation Club that are designed to completely scam you, all the way to PlayStation fans not even getting their hands on some of the new free content. This reeks of lack of preparation. And I just have to ask.
Well, and the old saying we've referred to a lot is never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by incompetence. But at some point, and I do think that is generally true. I do think that generally, if we can look at something and be like, hey, Bethesda, like they've released this update for Fallout 4 Next Gen update, and it broke ultra-wide support, it broke all these things like VATS. That's probably incompetence. But at some point, when you have such a sustained period of years of blatant, rampant incompetence with no adjustments, with no fixes, with no attempt to improve it, that then I think becomes malice. You know, it's like a malicious incompetence, which is technically a thing. If management knows there is a massive issue, if management knows that they have been mismanaging this, that it's filled with bugs, that their updates consistently break things and it takes them a year and a half to fix it, and all of this continues to stack up over years and years and years, and they choose not to fix it, that at that point becomes like weaponized and malicious incompetence. They are choosing to be incompetent. You know, at that point, I don't care. If I go to we just had this happen the other day, yesterday actually, we went to a crumble cookies location. My wife wanted to get some crumble cookies, the little mini ones, and share them with our boys. And because they'd been very good all day. And so we went to a crumble cookies location, and it was such a dumpster fire inside that store that it was like inexcusable. There's like a clique of like 4 or 5, probably like early college girls, and they're on their phones with customers in the building, like chatting, and they're sharing TikToks with each other. And then there's these 2 young men, probably like they looked like high schoolers, that looked so over their heads, like they had no idea what they were doing, and they're desperately trying to put cookies and stuff in the boxes and package them for all the customers and stuff, while the girls in the clique like literally do nothing. And at one point the girls are like getting up, walking outside the building to go chat with friends they have outside the building and come back in, and they're not like washing their hands between things. Like, it was actually insane. We got on the Google page for the store, and there's a bunch of reviews saying the same exact thing for weeks. But what happens right after a negative review? They flood it with probably employee reviews of 5 stars that are like 2 words saying, "Great cookies, 5 stars," to flush out the bad reviews and stuff. And so it's like, okay, so management is aware of the bad reviews. Management knows that there is a problem with the employees where they're not doing what they should be and customers are dissatisfied and leaving 1-star reviews. But we're going to ask our employees to give 5-star reviews, or ask our friends to give 5-star reviews to boost the average and flush those away. Like, at that point, it's not just incompetence. The people on their phones that are not working, that's probably just incompetence. But when management then goes so far as to try and cover it up and not deal with the problem, not fix it, that then becomes malicious incompetence. And like they're choosing not to deal with it. You know, are you describing America's workforce? I already fall into the trap of sounding like a boomer too often. Okay. What I will say is that, like, when I worked at a Chick-fil-A for a summer in high school. And if any of us did anything close to what those girls did for the 25 minutes we waited for them to put 3 little cookies in a box, I would have been fired instantaneously. Like, go. Like, they do. It was just pure incompetence. And it was also like snobbish, nasty, like Mean Girls energy too, where they were making like jokes and comments about the boys that were actually working. It was so gross and just disappointing. But anyway, the point is, BGS, they're crumble cookies. Okay. They're crumble cookies. Anyway, the reason I bring that up with all this is that there was an argument to be made years ago, I think, that Bethesda just was incompetent, that they just had people that didn't know what they were doing, and their updates and stuff were just poorly put together because they were just bad at doing this. I think that was an argument you could make. It's been close to a decade, and this is still a problem. And I think at that point, it gets to the point of like, Todd knows this is a problem and he doesn't care because he's still getting his paycheck. Like, at that point, I think I lose the respect for Todd. You heard me. And I think they should be ashamed because this is just flatly unacceptable. BGS's Waffle House, well, it doesn't try to kill you. BGS, like Waffle House, I feel like it's like a 30% chance you die every time you walk in.
It's one thing to break the game. It's another thing to break our spirit.
Well, I think they have sufficiently broken the spirit of even the most hardcore defenders and fans of their games. And let's be honest, the moment that Elder Scrolls 6 is revealed, a lot of this is going to be forgotten. And we will be here making videos. I'll be here making videos, doing like streams and segments talking about like, guys, remember what happened last time? Todd's describing how Elder Scrolls 6 is going to use procedural generation. This sounds like garbage, but you're falling for it. It's going to happen all over again, I'm sure, because it happens every single time. The hype gets out of control because, as we all know, say it with me, hype makes you stupid. It puts on blinders. It makes you ignore realities that you could see with any other company or any other game. But when you're hyped up, you just start to ignore it, you know? But going back to Fallout specifically, I think people have just seen enough now, and it's so transparent that they're just doing this to try and milk TV show fans at the cost of their own fans. Anyway, continue, Maddie. Tear Todd apart.
Ask what the point was. What do you hope to get out of this? Is this some like deliberate internal ploy to sabotage Elder Scrolls 6 by dropping Shattered Space around this time last year and now Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition? Are we just like trying to whittle away all of Bethesda's goodwill so that when Elder Scrolls 6 comes around, I'm jaded beyond belief, and even if the game is heat, I won't buy it? Like, is that what we're going for here? Because we're on the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I mean, it does start to feel like that. Like, this is Bethesda's incompetence at this point is at such a level where it does make you start to question reality. You're like, are they trying to get people to stop playing Fallout 4? Like, they are literally breaking the game so bad that a lot of people just can't play it anymore, myself included. So do they want me to not play it? Are they trying to like break their own game to force you into Fallout 76 where they can milk you for more money? Is that really what they're doing? Because it's starting to feel like it.
Gentlemen, Reddit is having a good time with Xbox marketing, which now I finally have a picture I can point to and say, hey, if you want to put Xbox marketing into a nutshell of how disconnected they are with their own product, here you go. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition's available today. Everyone liked that. Now, if it worked at the bare minimum.
Like, it's so delusional to just assert everyone like that. But like, this is where it starts to really feel like there's just I've said it in previous videos. It starts to feel like delusion, you know, where like Todd's perception of what the audience thinks of him and his games is so, at least what he says, is so not accurate. It makes you go like, does he seriously not know? Or is he just kind of like lying and gaslighting us? Like with the Starfield stuff, you know, where it's like, yeah, he gets asked a question. What do you say to people who didn't like the exploration loop in Starfield? Well, you know, there's some people that really, really loved Starfield, and you know, there's other people who liked it less. You're like, what? Like, this is like self delusion at this point. Like you're lying to yourself, you know? What are we doing? Anyway, continuing.
I'm sure we would. But Xbox showed with Redfall and those leaked internal emails from Phil Spencer thinking like Redfall would be like an 80 Metacritic game and could be one of their big exclusives of the year and do well, that they don't really interact with their own content clearly, because anyone who lays hands on Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition realizes Bethesda has made their own game, which I thought was pretty great, significantly worse over time. Not just through optics and pricing, but also just like it runs worse. That's unbelievable to me.
Well, and it's what's frustrating especially is that it's this gaslighting that's so extra insulting, where it's like, no, it actually, we're looking at our data, and our data shows that actually performance and crash numbers are lower than ever, and the total number of players is higher than it's ever been. And so our data actually suggests that it's going really, really well. And so they're like, yeah, ignore your lying eyes and ears. Reject your reality, substitute it with mine, you know, and Todd does it all the time too in interviews where you're like, what are you talking about? What world are you talking about? It's the same thing that happened with Emil Pagliarulo, Todd's like right-hand man. He straight up got bullied off of X to the point where he like straight up deleted his X account and went to Blue Sky. And it was because he was making posts and did this whole chain where he was describing how, like, in a lot of ways, Starfield is the best game we've ever made and stuff like that. You're like, bro, what world do you live on? One of those 1,000 planets in Starfield? No wonder you've gone crazy. Like, what are you talking about? It is a rejection of reality. And then literally leaving the bubble where you're getting called out for being out of touch, and then you go put yourself in a separate bubble where you feel safer. Like, no wonder they don't he's not like actively engaging with criticism. He's like, I don't like that. It's like, that's why I don't think any of this is going to change with Elder Scrolls 6. I think it's just going to be more of the same. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to come out in 2035. Not really. It's probably coming out 2028, 2029. It's going to be bloated. It's going to be buggy. It's going to have procedural generation stuff that nobody wants. It's going to have paid mods day one. It's going to be a whole thing.
People on Reddit have had a bit of fun with this new social post. Everyone hated that. There's your 9,000 upvotes.
I did pull this up too, 9,000 upvotes. I pulled this one up because I also saw it. It is now at 11,000 upvotes. And this is on the Fallout subreddit, where they've been mass downvoting other things that are critical. And so there's like two factions in the Fallout subreddit: the people who I would say are realists and can see how bad everything is, and then other people who are like the hardcore fanboys and will mass downvote anything that's critical. But even with that faction, it's still at 11,000 upvotes. People are sick of it. I updated and downloaded the cool stuff. Now the game won't even start. Awesome. When's the next update? When they send a Gorillagram to your house that just kicks you in the balls. That at this point I think would be at least more entertaining. It's crazy to me how much I used to like Bethesda and how they've done such a detailed job of betraying everything I enjoyed about them. It takes a genuine skill to F up so heavily for an entire decade and still not be out of business. I actually have a sneaking suspicion that there might be layoffs inbound at BGS, and it may or may not have something to do with the fact that a big faction of BGS just recently had a pretty major step forward with their union, which we know Microsoft doesn't tend to like. So I would not be surprised. Feel free to bookmark this. I would not be surprised if in the spring, when there's another round of layoffs, because in the spring there will be another massive round of layoffs from Microsoft. I wouldn't be surprised if BGS is among those that get some jobs cut. So just buckle up. I don't think they'll go out of business, but I do think they'll be hit. I've hit the age where I have to watch all my favorite franchises become nothing more than merchandise to be wheeled out for profit rather than any progress made with the concept, all because old guys can't seem to retire. I think it's that Todd just got a taste of paid mod money and loved it so much that now that's the entire... It's literally all of BGS. All of BGS exists now just to service paid mods. Like, that's what the entire company's become.
So yeah, people aren't pleased about this. This is not an opinion I'm expressing that's within the minority. A lot of folks are really upset across the Fallout community, and rightfully so, because the question you have to ask in all seriousness is like, if this is to celebrate Fallout 4, I don't want to know how you feel about something you don't care about, because this should be, I think, an IP you care deeply about. It certainly matters to you when it's driving a lot of money, like, oh, hey, you know, the Fallout TV show, and hey, the next gen update, and hey, 76 expansions and DLC. Like, it should matter enough, right? I guess not. And so now people are going over to Steam and rightfully leaving their thoughts in the review section on the Steam page for both the Fallout 4 Creations Bundle, which is the new one that dropped yesterday. For those who are not informed, these are all of the previous creations that were a part of Creation Club wrapped into one bundle and sold off to you. So this does not include any of the new creations that have come out, none of which, in my opinion, thus far are really anything to write home about. But at least if those were kind of rolled into the overall bundle, you might have a little bit of a leg to stand on here. But it's $20 of old junk. So yeah, it doesn't represent the new era of creations, which honestly I don't think they did a good job doing that either. But when you go to Fallout 4's own Steam page now, people are leaving reviews on that as well, and it's not pretty. Like, people are really going after Bethesda, and there's a real...
But again, the fact that it's even mixed is just insane. Like, nobody should tolerate this, but there's still people who will. It's so frustrating.
Sentiment that's been growing since Starfield of anger. The thing that I feel as someone who's been a part of this community for half my lifetime is like how little it feels like they care. I'm sure internally things are on fire and they're like, oh my God, this is awful. But as a fan,
maybe, but like, you would think if they were panicking, that they'd be panicking in the pursuit of fixing things quickly and properly. But what do we see instead? Like, people had the same conversation with Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, where it's like, it seems like they don't care, but I'm sure internally they're frantically trying to fix it. And then it takes a year and a half for them to fix it. Almost as if they weren't panicking at all. Almost as if they actually didn't care. Because I don't think they do. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a policy within the studio where they're like, don't go on the subreddit, don't read. God, do not watch a Luke Stevens video. Whatever you do. He's mean. Like, I'm sure that there's a general vibe where it's like, don't engage with the negativity. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Focus on your work, have fun, you know, vibe. Because that's at some point, again, like, if they consistently give you the feeling like they don't care, at some point you should just believe them. You know, at some point, if they say time and time and time again that they don't really care, that they're going to keep doing whatever they're doing, you should believe them. They've been saying for years they don't see a problem, that they think that paid mods are great, that they think that their games are really successful, that they think that more fans than ever are playing with them, and there's some people that are just being negative haters and all this. Believe them. It's why I've said for years, not really years, I've said for the last year or so that I feel as though Bethesda is slowly becoming a lol cow of the games industry. And it's because, like, they reject reality when it's inconvenient for them. They focus only on messaging they want to hear, even if it's pretty transparently not the case. They are unwilling or unable to recognize when they've made a mistake. So they're extremely arrogant and cocky as a result of it. They're just generally bad at what they do. And they are such consistent screw ups that you can almost predict with scientific accuracy that each and every new update is going to break something even worse than it was before. Performance is going to get worse. They will claim that it was a victory and that everybody loved it, and they will find a new way to milk more money out of their hardcore fans every single step of the way. Yeah, Luke doesn't hate BGS. He just loves them a little less. Exactly, Paul.
And I look at this and I go, everything since 76 has been nothing short of disastrous for you. Even Starfield's launch, for all the money it made, and even as someone who did like the game a lot, I can objectively look at the conversation that surrounded that game, and if I'm Bethesda, I still don't have a lot to feel great about.
But that's the thing is, and at some point, I've just had this moment where I'm like, you know what? I used to think, and I said, I used to say that, like, I think Bethesda is aware, but they just say this optically because Todd is a salesman. You know, Todd's a salesman. He'll spin it. You know, he does the 1-2 step, side step where, like, oh, you give him a tough question. A lot of people didn't like the exploration in Starfield. What do you have to say to those people? And then he'll sidestep it and do the little Todd sidestep and be like, oh, well, some people loved it and some people loved it a little less. Anyway, here's paid mods. Like, I used to spin it like that because I thought, no, Todd's smart. Todd, I think, is just a salesman and he's spinning it. But it's been so many years of him saying things that seem wildly out of touch and delusional. And I had this moment where I was just like, maybe he actually believes it. Maybe he actually is just delusional. Maybe the people in that building are actually just that out of touch. Because compare it to the other thing, where it's like with Emil, he says something that is patently stupid. People clip it. It goes viral with YouTubers, streamers, even traditional media like PC Gamer, IGN, writing articles about it. And so what does he do? Instead of engaging with the feedback and the critique of what he said, he deletes his X account and goes to a safe space bubble.
Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition was the easiest opportunity at a win for you. Here's this thing that many of you know what it is. We're going to make it better for you. Here's a lot of new content. It is that simple. Gamers are easy to please. And I don't mean that like we're smooth brain, but like new stuff usually makes us pretty happy. Not breaking the thing we already have. So,
yeah, I think it's important to remember just how insane it is that this was a layup. I mean, it's the 10th anniversary of Fallout 4. They could have done, you know what freaking KCD2 did what Warhorse did for KCD2? They just launched Mysteria Ecclesiae, which is a fantastic DLC. Highly recommend it. Fantastic DLC from a fantastic developer, and did a video on it in the main channel. But they just released this. You know what they did for the weekend leading into the DLC launch to celebrate its success and say thank you to the audience? They made it free to play for like 4 or 5 days. Just said, yeah, play the game. If you finish it all in that time, cool. Thank you for playing. If you want to support us, maybe buy it. Sure. But if you just want to play it, cool. Like, this is what, when I talked to Sir Toby, who heads up their community management and everything, what he said is that at their core, they're a studio that is community first. It's community driven. Their goal is to create a studio that's primary goal is to serve its community. They want to create games that serve the community. They want to create experiences that the community connects with, and they want to listen to the feedback and make adjustments according to that feedback. And that also means giving the community things and little gifts and knickknacks and treats and things. And just think of how fundamentally different BGS treats their fan base. Night and day. Night and day. They have a Royal Edition that includes all the DLC and everything. The game launched this year to rave reviews. Do you think they're going to do this again in 10 years and break the game in the process? Like, it's crazy. This is crazy, but it is again the night and day difference between a company that appreciates and values and treasures their community and a company that takes their community for granted and is just trying to milk them.
Reviews, because Bethesda's made it worse. This gets into some of the new stuff that I was not aware of when I was making my review yesterday. One such thing is I talked about some of the free content that did come to Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. You see, with the launch of the new creations, one of them we discussed was the Tale of the Beast Hunter, which was a heavily fan service driven mod officially made by Bethesda Game Studios. And it's there you can get this kind of Fallout New Vegas fanboy style drip where you can get like the NCR helmet, the Lucky 38 jacket, you see a little Deathclaw pauldron. It's pretty nice. And I thought to myself, again, in the mess of everything happening here, I'm trying to keep a level head like, okay, this could be cool, but we kind of know what Bethesda's going for here. All right, this wasn't on PlayStation? This wasn't available. This wasn't ready to go. I mean, again, we know who this is for, and I talked about this yesterday, but I'm going to re-emphasize it, so apologies if I sound like a broken record.
It just wasn't ready for PlayStation. Like, what? They've known this anniversary was coming for ever. The 10th anniversary was known the moment the game launched, and they didn't have this prepared. Like, what? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Ty in Mile High donated $10 through Super Chat. Larian, Warhorse, Embark, Sandfall, versus Bethesda, EA, Activision, Bungie, greed culture, and lack of laws limiting microtransactions are killing U.S. studios.
Oh, and then it stopped. And then you said European studios, passion projects, U.S. profit machines. Well, I'd also throw in some of these new Eastern games and developers from China, South Korea, Japan. They are going to seriously start putting, giving these companies a run for their money. And the good thing is, like, in terms of the free market, when there are Eastern studios that are, like, for example, there's Insider Gaming just posted their review of Where Winds Meet. And this is something we talked about on Monday, but it's this massive free to play. They rated it great. It's a massive free to play adventure exploration RPG game. And it's monetized through cosmetics exclusively. And it's got roughly 150 hours of content, and you can just check it out and play it for free. And like, it's just fan servicey in that way, but you can just go play it. And it makes big games like what Ubisoft pumps out, these big open world games that are premium titles that are $70 and then have $40 expansion passes and all the paid cosmetics anyways. It makes them seem like just egregious in their pricing when they can come out and release it for free and then monetize with cosmetics on the back end. And I think that increased competition is what's really going to push a lot of these studios to either shut down or make massive improvements. I just realized I'm over time to meet up with Jor. So I do think that's a component. I do think that increased competition is going to force these companies to either put up or shut up. And so companies like Bungie may fall by the wayside, with other companies like Embark coming out and just showing them how it's done. And then other big companies, whether it's putting out games like Black Myth Wukong or Where Winds Meet or Phantom Blade Zero or whatever it may be, those studios are going to start to give some of these other big publishers and big companies in Western markets a run for their money and show like, no, you got to be hungry. You can't be greedy like this. You can be greedy when you have the market cornered and you dominate and you can charge whatever you want. You can't do that when there's a lot of competition. You just can't be that greedy anymore. But to just quickly wrap this up, this is, I don't want to go through the whole thing because you should go watch Maddie's video. You should subscribe to Maddie because he's, again, offers a much more upbeat perspective than I often offer with these types of topics where I get really frustrated. But what he said there I think is important, which is Fallout 76 should not be the centerpiece of content. It should not be like the main hub of high quality content in Fallout. And that is something we said from the perspective of old school fans, of fans of the single player RPGs. It's pretty clear that for BGS, live service is where they think their games should live for the majority of their lifespan. And you can look at, I mean, just as a matter of fact, like at this point, it used to be that we viewed the single player game launches as the big moment, and then the live service stuff holds you over until the big single player thing happens again. Fallout 76 launches to hold you over until Fallout 5. And Elder Scrolls Online holds you over until Elder Scrolls 6. It seems like Bethesda's perspective is flipped. ESO from ZeniMax Online, that is the moneymaker. That is the thing that generates extreme profit. And then the single player game is basically one gigantic promotion to get you into that online game. Fallout 4, it's a single player game, launched in 2015. It was very successful at the time as well. But since then, their focus has shifted to live service. So they have Fallout 76, and anything with Fallout 4 is basically meant to push you into Fallout 76. It's meant to funnel you into the live service platform where they can charge more, where they can milk you dry. And the same thing I think is going to happen with Elder Scrolls 6. It's going to funnel people into a new live service offering for Elder Scrolls. And it's also why I think that the next game from BGS probably is not going to be a single player game. I know some people get triggered when I say that, but Todd made a lot of comments. He made a lot of comments where he was walking back statements. For example, people were asking, what's next? When is Elder Scrolls 6 coming out? Is it out in the next couple of years? And he's like, I just want to go back to that. When I said that, Elder Scrolls 6, I was talking about like the timelines, and at the time Starfield wasn't out yet, so I said Starfield's coming and then Elder Scrolls 6 is coming after that. I just meant sometime after that. And I'm like, why would he need to clarify that if it was next? Why would he need to clarify? I don't mean Elder Scrolls 6 is next. I just mean it's coming sometime in the future. Fallout 5. Fallout 5. I think like, because Elder Scrolls 6 is in production now, but with Fallout 5, that's what he's talking about with the timeline. I should clarify because I'm using the wrong terms. Thank you for letting me know. The timeline right now is Elder Scrolls 6, probably 2028, 2029. That's happening. Like that's established. After that, Fallout 5 was supposed to come at some point. So when Todd was asked about that and it was up in the air, people were questioning like, what are we dealing with? Initially, like it was pretty clear Fallout 5 is next. But Todd has since been walking back all of this. Todd has since been like shifting and rephrasing things and being like, I just meant it was sometime in the future after we finish what we're doing, after Elder Scrolls 6. I think it's because they probably are working on like Starfield Online or a new Elder Scrolls Online variant where they're going to launch it kind of like a GTA Online or a Red Dead Online. They'll have the single player game, and then they're going to have a big Elder Scrolls 76 offering that drops relatively close after that. I think that's going to be their approach. Like, I think that's what they're going to do, because God knows it's going to be another 20 years before they do anything with Elder Scrolls after Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. So yeah, it's just, I think going back to all of this, again, I just think it's really, really crucial to understand that the Bethesda of like 2010, even 2015 is no longer there. The Bethesda that exists right now is a company that is focused on the live service projects that generate crazy money. They're focused on paid mods, microtransactions in their games. That's the focus. And the single player games are just meant to be a funnel to get you into those places where they can milk you dry. That's the goal. Like we can hope, we can dream that they return to form, but pretty clearly they don't care. Pretty clearly they do not care. Good video from Maddie. It's something you should go watch the entire video. You should go subscribe, check out his other stuff, of course. But once again, it's just another example of Bethesda and Todd, I think, just being disconnected from the community and then showcasing that they just frankly don't know what the core fans want, and they don't frankly care because their focus now is on the live service stuff more than anything.